Okay, now it should be good. I'm so sorry. Uh, if you hear me, oh yeah, you can see me on Twitch. Okay, awesome. Thank you. Sorry guys. If you hear me, I was able to connect to the machine. So I'm on the mini Mac now, so that should be good. And I forgot to hit the go live on YouTube button. Sorry for that. Just before I started, my connection to my good internet was down, so I reconnected and that broke everything. So that should be good now. So I will have a lot of delay on YouTube because I hit the button go live really late. But anyway, it should be good. Okay. So this is show number 3. I'm still really excited about it. I've had a lot of feedback. People still love it. Some people complain that I'm not crazy enough like I do in my videos. That will maybe come. I'm still nervous because I try to make a great show and I have a lot of stuff to handle. Like you saw here, it filled a bit, not for too long, so that's good. And people also told me that they really liked live coding when I did for the news section live coding. So this time again, I will do some live coding during the news. But I have a small opening monologue trick, and I'm going to try to do that. It's, let me see. Super laggy image on YouTube. Okay. Yeah, I don't know why it's so laggy. Is it the same on Twitch? I wonder why. I'm checking here. Yeah, I'm on the good network, so I can see here it's laggy. Let's hope it catch up. Yeah, YouTube is not receiving enough video. I hope it will take over. Otherwise, I'm really sorry. Yeah, image is lagging. I see that. I have no idea why it's lagging so much. Is it lagging on Twitch? But I don't have the chat. If you can tell me if it's lagging on Twitch as well through messages, I will. Okay, what is Edson telling me? That's crazy stuff. Okay. It is lagging on Twitch. Okay. So it looks like something on my computer is not correct then. Let me see. If I go here, let's see if it's getting better here. Okay. No, it's not getting better. I can see here on the YouTube side that my network is really terrible. I'm on the good network. I'm on the 4G. I can check my speed. Just let me check my speed. I'm so sorry. I was really hoping that won't happen anyway. It's a Mac Mini. Oh, so apparently it's not my fault. It's a fault of the machine that streams. And is there anything that we can do for this?
Sebi, I'll try to restart the OBS on the streaming machine to see it fix. I can see that's dropping a lot of frames. That's why you're lagging.
Okay, so people will still be able to stay on the stream, or?
On YouTube, I'm sure, and on the Twitch, I believe they'll lose now. But if they keep the Twitch page open, we should be able to reconnect.
Okay, let's try that because yeah. Okay. Anyway,
just don't stop the stream on YouTube. Yeah.
No, I don't touch anything. Okay.
And we're back.
Yeah, I see that. Let me check here on my side. Excellent connection. Okay, hey, looks like we are back. So, can people confirm in the chat if you see me, hear me, if it looks to work better? It's a lot better, yeah. So, disclaimer, it was not my fault. So I see a lot of people drop, but just tell people they can join again, and that will be awesome. Okay. So, just for the story, so that people understand what is happening here. We are streaming, but we are streaming. I'm doing a Blue Jean call with a machine running in the cloud, and this machine in the cloud has OBS and does the streaming everywhere. And my connection was good, but apparently the machine in the cloud was completely laggy for some reasons. I don't know why. So Edson rebooted the machine in the cloud, and now looks like it's back. Okay, we got back to a decent concurrent view. We lost a lot of time, so without waiting, let me just, because I worked hard on that, my intro was something about learning. Okay, learning. There we go, and I missed that. Learning, and that is something that I learned today. Well, not today, but this week. I learned how to do sketchnoting. Sketchnoting, that is what I'm doing right now, okay? So instead of taking notes with only text, you also make pictures. Like you can make a computer, there we go, you can make a cloud. And I was really happy to learn new stuff. And last week was back to school, the team of my show. So this week the team is learning new stuff. And we are really lucky about the fact that all the conferences go virtual, because now you can attend really a lot of conferences. You know, they're all in the cloud here. And you can attend DevNation Day, for instance, next week. This week there's also Quarkus Day, there's also Java Days Istanbul. There's a lot of stuff. And maybe before the lockdown you were not able to travel and to go to these conferences. Now you can go to all of these conferences, okay? So that is a great thing about the lockdown. You can learn a lot of new stuff. But be careful of not learning too much. Don't get hit by hype-driven development, okay? I keep it really short because we lost a lot of time. I see the bitrate is I see the bitrate is falling again, so I hope it will be better during the interview. The idea was to play a weird instrument. Last week I played guitar. This week I will just play some tunes of this, and then we will switch to the interview. Because I lost already 15 minutes. This comes from Africa, from some of the island called the Comoros Islands, les îles Comores in French. My brother-in-law brought me that back 2 years ago. So, few tunes, and then we go to the interview. Okay, time. Okay, hey Brian, welcome. You're muted. Unmute yourself.
I think I'm unmuted now.
Oh, you are unmuted now. Let me change
right.
this. Yeah, awesome. Let me just change to side by side. And there we go. Oh yeah, the machine is still really slow. So okay, we are back on excellent connection on the YouTube side. So hey, Brian, how are you?
I'm good. It's been a hassle during these doing these online sessions, but I'm here. Good, man. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm still under the stress because of all these things happening. You know, online is great, but there's so many levels where it can fail.
Yeah. So many abstractions where it can go wrong. Definitely.
Oh yeah, so many abstractions. So okay, I'm just looking here. So thank you for being our guest. So for people who don't know you, can you try to present yourself in 30 seconds?
Well, 30 seconds. That's hard. But let me put
1 minute. I give you 1 minute.
Okay, let me put on this one because with all the corona kind of stuff last time people saw me, I didn't have a beard yet. So you see what happens. I'm Brian. I am a developer advocate and a software engineer for Snyk. I've been doing that now for just over a year and a half or something like that. Before that, I was a Java engineer for, well, over a decade. I'm based in the Netherlands, so I worked all over the place in the Netherlands for banks and insurance companies. You know that stuff, right? As a consultant, basically. So long-term projects, did a lot of Java development. Before that, I did my Master of Science on Computer Science at Utrecht University, which is one of the main universities in the Netherlands. So that's kind of the 30 seconds, I hope.
Yeah, yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
I should have warned people. We could have done this interview in Dutch because I'm half Dutch, so, and I've been almost 10 years consultant in the Netherlands in banks and insurances, like working for Rabo, and okay, great. So I asked the same question to Ray and Sebastian the weeks before, but you are a developer advocate, and you were supposed to travel like crazy like us. And then came the lockdown. How did you handle this situation?
Well, it normally depends on how you see developer advocacy. And developer advocacy is, first of all, it's not the same as marketing as some people think, like you only talk. Like half of my work is still engineering and the other half is outreach. And yet outreach can be speaking on conferences, but also creating content like reports or blog posts and that kind of stuff. And all these things still continue. More than that, I think during the lockdown, we had a lot of plans at the beginning of this year, which was spread over the whole year. And all of these projects came at once to me like, okay, we're going to do this, and that. And I was handling 4 engineering projects at the same time. Still doing some conferences, as it turned out to be virtual, as you explained, and doing a lot of content writing. So I'm still very, very busy during my day. It's not that traveling. Well, I miss to travel a lot because I miss to see and talk to people. That's the one thing I still think we haven't clearly grasped within the virtual conferences, because, well, running into you folks during conferences, these are the most interesting conversations you have. But like spending my time, I still have more than enough work to do to keep myself busy. I'm not sitting down and just putting my feet up and don't do anything. It just changed my whole. I think for every one of us that speak regularly, it just changed a lot of how we work.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And what we mentioned with Ray and Sebastian was actually that we even had the feeling that we worked more than before. Because definitely. Even the times that we spent at the airports, we were a bit of working, but not really. But all this time now you are at home and you can spend it on really working. So we had the feeling that we even worked more during this lockdown.
Yeah. Well, it depends on what you say of work. I was more productive on producing new stuff, definitely, because on the other side, conversations with other people's, even friends, but also competitors, can make you smarter. And that's the stuff we do miss out on now. But as productive work, like creating code, mainly, I did a lot more than I did last year. Creating blog posts, I did a lot more than last year. And yeah, I easily could fill 10 to 12 hours and still have 10 to 12 hours a day and still have enough work to fill the rest of the month. So no worries. I share that feeling.
Yeah. I saw you were really productive on your blog. I will mention one article about that. But let's start from the beginning. Could you explain us a bit what Snyk is? Oh, just before, is it right? Is that a urban legend, or does really Snyk means so now you know? Is that correct?
That is correct. Okay. Snyk is just it's an abbreviation of so now you know. That's what Snyk stands for. And then we have the internal debate how you pronounce it. And my dear friend and manager Simon Maple pronounces it Snyk. However, our and we still have debates about it, but our CEO and founders, they say it's Snyk, and well, people still argue about it, and that's the fun of it. It doesn't matter. So now you know. Basically, so now you know. And And why it's called that way is what we basically, our core thing that we did first was we create tooling for developers to make security easier. And basically we, in a nutshell, we create some sort of scanning tool that scans your third-party open source libraries. Because, well, every Java developer knows if you start a project, you probably do or Maven or Gradle, and you hand in a few frameworks and libraries, and if you look at that one, that is basically the majority of your code that you put into production. You only focus yourself, you focus on the business logic because, well, that's what makes the difference. But a lot of the boilerplate is done by libraries because we don't want to do these things. You do not want to create another endpoint because we've done tons of them. If there is people use libraries and say over time a certain vulnerability come in. When is the point that you switch out to a newer version? And that's always a question. Some say if it works, don't touch it. Some people update every single release. But at least you need to know if there is a security vulnerability. Because if you don't know that, and people can break in through one of these libraries that you're using and you're not aware of, it can be quite of a problem. That's the beginning of Snyk. We scan your stuff, and we tell you like where are the problem areas. So now you know.
Okay.
And what the company does is we on one side we provide security tooling. So first of all for scanning your third-party dependencies, but also we're doing now a lot of stuff on scanning your Kubernetes files for your infrastructure as code stuff.
Okay.
We're scanning your containers, and the other part of the company is research. So we actively research on security vulnerabilities, like when does it happen, and we try to help maintainers with that. So that's the two parts of the company. And for me myself, what we do is we try to work that out. We try to create integrations, and we try to also like write about general security stuff, because the point is we need to be known with this, because we always know how to create stuff, but how do we secure these things? And that's so it's not only about what we offer as a company, but also what we can contribute to the community.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, that was my, I use Snyk, but yeah, when I checked your website this morning, I said, yeah, it's pretty clear that you have a 3-level expertise is on the application level. So like scanning your jars.
Yeah.
It looks like also on the container level, is my container secured? Am I using the right base image?
Yeah,
and the first level, which is the infrastructure, like Kubernetes. So that's great. Let's start with the first one, with application level. And you wrote a pretty famous blog post now, because a few weeks ago, saying I wrote 5 lines of code and it ends up with 500,000 lines of code in production, something like that.
Yeah,
I really like it. So can you talk a bit about this experiment that you did?
Yeah, it was a small experiment I did as part of a talk for the Dutch online conference JSpring. And
Okay.
I was talking about dependency management in general. And to point out that was like, okay, we are using a lot of tools like scaffolders, if you want to like set up your application or set up your boilerplate code. And from that point on, you just write something. And I wrote a totally useless piece of code. I wrote one endpoint that's basically said hello world. And I implemented, in this case, Spring Boot. And was not to bash on any framework, but it was just because it's so heavily used, I wanted to use something that everybody was familiar with. And I created the basic parts I need to create one endpoint that says hello world or hello whatever. So my goal was to do that. And it turns out that it scaffolds some stuff. It also, and it scaffolds in this case, my Maven, POM file, which introduces new starters. And what I tried to create was, as a developer, you are aware of your own code. You know what you wrote. You probably in your team you have something like code reviews, and you check that. but there is so much code that you put into that fat jar and you put into production. And of course, this was overkill. I totally agree with that, but was to make a point.
Yeah, exactly.
That you pull in a lot of frameworks and you have no clue what that framework depends on and what that dependency depends on, etc., etc. So it turns out I decompiled everything, so I only have the actual code, and of course it depends on the decompiler how it comes. And then I counted the lines of code. So I wrote 4 lines or 5 lines of code, and I counted the lines of code that were actually all in the jar that I was putting into production for that demo. And it turned out that it was over 500,000 lines of code. And then with a lot of frameworks, you have no clue what actually happens if you see like things like a reflection or what is configured by default. If you're only looking at that spot that you want to know and that you're creating, you take a lot of it in it. And some you don't need, some you do need, but you should be aware there's far much more than your code that you put into production, but you are responsible for the whole set. If something goes wrong, or if you need to switch things out, and they are there by default, you have to be aware of that is in play as well, and that can be part of a bug or part of an issue as well. So that was the whole point of my blog post. I only need 4 lines, the 4 lines I wrote, because I do not want to do boilerplate, which is fine, but it generates so much stuff, and it can be all useful, but you have to be aware of it. That's basically the point. And I chose a nice title for it, like literally 4 lines, 500,000 lines of code. Like, what happens here?
Yeah, the title was great. Yeah. And as you say, so the only advice you can say is to people be aware of it, or they do anything other than that?
There are multiple advice. First of all, you should have, in general, if you create code, you should be aware of what you are using and what you pull in. As dependencies, you should be having some sort of dependency management strategy. Like, when do you think a dependency is good enough to solve the problems you want to solve? Because creating an endpoint that says hello world and spin up a whole application server is overkill. That is one thing. You can do that with just a printout. But if you do something, do you need that whole framework? That's one thing. When do you upgrade, for instance? Are you doing that when something new comes up, or maybe it's in there until it breaks? But you should be aware of that. In the meantime, things can happen, like, for instance, a security vulnerability is found. You should be using tooling like my tooling or like our tooling to fix that, or to at least be aware that there is an issue with a certain package, and maybe we can help you even fix it. And even if you use other tooling, I'm also fine with that. But in general, it's more than the code you write that you need to take care of. And you should create a strategy as a team around that, because if something goes wrong, in the end, you need to fix it. And you're responsible. Because we're all trying to do some kind of DevOps, DevSecOps, whatever we call it, DevOps situation. Right? We need to take that responsibility. And that's basically what I'm trying to say here.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. To stay a bit on the Java side, what are the other common security pitfalls for Java apps?
There are a bunch of security pitfalls. I think one of the, I don't know if it's the most common, but there are a few pitfalls that are common, like configuration issues. First of all, people try to do defaults, and it works, and push it to production and move on to the next project. And then you see by default some ports are open, and we can go through that, and we can use that to leverage data. What also happens is that people are not aware of what they actually expose. But say you're having an endpoint. Do you need to expose everything in that endpoint for what it's worth? I mean, if we have data transfer objects, and you publish that whole data transfer object, including an ID, including some things that might not even be useful for the front end that you use it for, or for what you want to show. But if you show that extra information, it can be someone that says, okay, I see a UUID here. Let's try it into another endpoint and see if I can gather more information. And if you connect that information all together, you might have a bunch of things that you do not want to have connected, or that you're actually leaking information from your clients that you don't want to leak. Things like, be aware that all default XML parsers within Java have external entities by default on, so you can do a bunch of nasty stuff with that if you accept it without verifying what's it. Simple things as verifying what's coming in. Like, yeah, the front end is already verifying that it's not code that somebody tries to. That's if somebody does try to include, say, a script instead of just a name or a comment. Maybe people are checking that on the front end, but in the back end, in your Java service or something, you should check that as well. But also you should be aware of where are all the edges. So if you say it cannot go into my database, and I'm perfectly fine, it's true if you are the only one who is using that database. If another system is using that database, you could just have faith that other system is doing that as well, or you can check what's coming from the database to your system, to your user. Like, if you own that system, that you sanitize that stuff as well, that nothing weird happens. These kind of things, it's most of the times an issue is not just one small thing, but it's a domino effect of several things that happen all together, and then it blows up, and then it comes into the newspaper. So it are a bunch of little things that we can do, and I'm still wondering nowadays, like, how people are they getting taught at school how to look at security things, like what is a SQL injection? That's an easy one, I would think, but that's because I'm familiar with that stuff. When I came out of university, I had no clue what a SQL injection was. So there are so many developers in between, and we try to teach a bunch of them, like, to think more of what should I be aware of while coding or while including other people's code.
Yeah, and it's a great thing, because as you said, I think a lot of people, they know what SQL injection is. Well, they know the term, but they have no idea. It's reasonable, right? As a developer, more or less, you are pushed by your manager or whoever is challenging you to create new features to push into production, because they see the benefits of, if we release this earlier than our competitor, at that point we have a big win, or we can make a lot of money, or we are better than them. But only focusing on what is new instead of what are the threats, that's basically the other side. And what you see is that in many cases, in many companies, there is a security team that is somewhere siloed and does every now and then a pen test. But if we think of it from the beginning, just like we do unit tests, basically, we can cover it. And that's basically, to get that to developers, that is part of my job. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it should be like we speak about the whole DevOps development, bringing operation and developers together. Now we speak about DevSecOps. Yeah, bringing security culture inside the developer space. Operation.
It is a culture. It is a culture thing. I agree.
It's a cultural thing, and it's not a new idea. I always have this book here. I don't know if you know this book, the Phoenix Project.
No, I do not know that book, but
it's more or less it's a great book. You should read it, and it more or less explains the beginning of the DevOps story, and you have also a security team in this book. It's a novel, and the security group is completely apart from the operation and from the developers, and the three of them cannot talk together, and it's just not working. So. But it's a challenge, as you said, because security, we are developer, security is not our favorite topic. I know what I'm talking about. I was in the Keycloak team, and at conferences, when you say, okay, I'm going to talk to you about security, they are first looking at you like this, but then you can make it, if you say, it's not that hard, and you can, there are tools that are out there that will help you doing that. you don't want to do it yourself. That's also really important.
Yeah, really. For instance, do not create your own encryption algorithm. Don't ever do that. But there are a bunch of tools that can help you, and you can basically work in some sort of the same way as you do now. And with these tools, like Snyk is doing for your open source dependencies, they can just you can automate this during compile time. Like when you're compiling, you scan it the same way, and it doesn't make any difference for you to maybe it costs 1 minute more. But if that will help you and you do not have to do anything explicitly, I think that will help a bunch. And there are several tools that you can have in your tool set or part of your IDE or whatever you like that can help you with that. And that's basically the message. Don't be afraid of it. Just make it just as much as unit testing and making sure that things are scalable. We should think in the same way of security.
Yeah, I totally agree. It should be just a new, another metric in your code quality. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk a bit about container security around Docker. I saw you wrote some stuff about that, and so yeah. What are your top 3 tips for building a secured container image?
Well, it depends. Now that's a consultant in me now, right? It depends. That's always what consultant people say. But first of all, you should be aware of what are you taking in? What are you building on top of? If I just blindly pull something, if we're talking about Docker, if I blindly pull something from Docker Hub and base and put my code on top of that, then I also am aware that I'm responsible for the whole container. So what is that operating system that I'm pulling it on top of it? Or is it actually an operating system, or is an operating system already including extra binaries? Do I need a full-blown operating system? Like if I just download, for instance, a Debian Jessie, and we know there are some issues with that. It's older. So am I up to date? Do I need a whole system? Do I actually need a bash if I want to create just a Java container? Like, think in that way. What do I need instead of I pull in everything, I pull my stuff on top of it, and it works? Then I have a container that is very big, is not easy to ship, costs a lot of time to start up, but also you include some security issues as well. So one of that is be aware of where you build your stuff on top on. Maybe you should use a smaller image. For instance, maybe you shouldn't be using Docker. There are other options. I know Builder or Podman or these kind of things are also good for containers. But if you want to use Docker, you can do things like make sure that if you build up your image, do that in a regular way, or do that over and over again. Not just build one image and use it forever. Because if I use the latest base image now, that is only for this point in time. Tomorrow or 2 weeks from now or a year from now, that image can be updated and have, a bunch of stuff fixed. So build your containers that you can rebuild them, and do rebuild them over time. Another one is, let me think. Make sure that you have you have this possibility in Docker to build in different stages, to do and use that to build up a container, or build up get the stuff that you need and actually copy the stuff that you only actually need. So if I say, okay, I want to build up a container that needs a certain application that I include by using an apt-get or something like that. You don't need apt-get yourself. You don't need apt. You only need the application that you got. So if you create a container, in a multi-stage build that gets, for instance, the Java, the JVM, you don't need apt anymore. You can just copy the JVM to your final container that you put into production. So you just slice everything out that you don't need. And what you don't need, you cannot be vulnerable on that stuff, or you do not have to maintain that. And that is, in general, an option. And scan, of course.
It's a in the chat it's a multi-stage build. Yeah.
Multi-stage build. Yeah, I was looking for that word. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Sen. It's So yeah, that's great. Yeah. Okay, and let me check the time. Yeah, we're running late, but I want to hear a bit about infra security, Kubernetes
Yeah.
security. What are the things people need to take care of? And
Well, Kubernetes, there are a lot of things you can take care of, but I think the most common part is Kubernetes, you configure stuff, right? And misconfiguration of things are issues that turn out to be very, very frequently. People see that frequently. So if you can scan your Kubernetes file, your YAML file, for instance, or whatever you use, say you're using Terraform or some other part to distribute your containers, you want that to be automatically scanned to say, hey, there's an issue over here, or you can try to configure something and this port is open, or you can make it as crazy as you want. But the point is, if you have to look at it yourself, or you need your code reviewer to look at it, you can miss it. And if you have a scanner that can do that instantly or like over time or automatically, then you do not have to worry that much anymore. And that's basically the point. So before you go into production, you know that it's flagged okay, and let's go for it. So just to prevent and to help yourself to make silly mistakes, or for instance, oh, it's actually my dev container or the development file that I tried to push to production, and then some scanner says, this is not a good thing. So in general, if you're talking about infrastructure as code or containers, it's all about that to help you before you make that decision and you don't look at it anymore and you got breached, or you have a data leak. Just preventing that in general.
Okay. So yeah, that's great. So we had the overview of the three parts, and what I really like is what you're trying to say. Well, what I understood is that it's more people should change your way of thinking. And what I like, we're not saying you should do that, use this tool, do this. You try to explain people, just change the way. Think about what you put in production. It's more people like this way. I think.
Definitely. If I say to people, you should use this tool in this way, people will not use it because they might work differently. And we try to provide our tools in different ways, so you can do it in a terminal, you can integrate it with your IDE, and if that helps, it's perfect. If that doesn't help, maybe you should look for something that helps your process, because I think that is the way to adopt it. But first you have to be aware of that you should do these kind of things.
Okay, yeah. I really like it. Well, we're running late. I still have a lot to cover. And to finish, I just remember this awesome talk you did with Matt at Devox. Do you have any life hack to share with me right now?
Oh yeah, we did a talk on 10 excellent ways to share your to secure your Spring Boot application. That was the talk, and I picked one out of that. I will pick one out of that talk, which is something that was very useful for me during travel. I mean, you can go to restaurants, right? And you know that sometimes at a conference they have food, but food at like normal conferences, not virtual, but real conferences the food is not, most of the time, is not the best thing at a conference. So I was like, okay, sometimes I just like to have a pizza. And I ordered a pizza, but I cannot use that whole pizza. Normally I don't eat that whole pizza. So what I do is, I need to reheat that pizza. But how do you reheat a pizza in a hotel room? So I think you can see my screen now, or not? So this is one of the things you can just with some tooling within your hotel room, you can create your perfect own pizza slice oven with just an iron and some equipment within the bathroom. You can reheat your pizza. It takes a couple of minutes, and you can eat it again. So the next morning, if you want to eat your leftover pizza again, or your pizza went cold because whatever, this is a perfect trick to do that.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. So everyone, most important trick, Most important thing you have
Yeah.
to learn. From
This is what you learn as a developer advocate: how to do these silly things, and it works. Some of these things you should not do, but well, it might be handy someday.
Awesome. Oh, okay, Brian.
Yeah.
I have to go on to the next steps of the show, which is already running late. But thank you so much. It was really interesting. I forgot to share the show notes with the audience, but I will do that. I will add your Twitter account, the link to your blog post, so people can reach out to you. Again, thank you so much. And yeah, I hope to see you soon, at least virtually, in a conference or.
Hopefully we meet again soon. And thank you for having me, Sebastian.
Okay.
All right.
Hey, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Hey, so that was an interview. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. We are running late, so without any more waiting, the news section. Okay, and we are back for the news section. Let me see do I have something around the news? Yeah, I have something around something special happening next week, DevNation Day. And Edson, are you there? Edson will talk us about DevNation Day.
Yes, I'm here, Sebi.
Hey.
And actually, as I'm just speaking, I'm posting on the chat, both on Twitch and YouTube, the URL to our DevNation Day. So if you're just seeing and watching us, doesn't matter if it's live or later, you have the great opportunity to be part of another great show because, well, we're watching this show right now, but we have the entire full day entire content for DevNation Day. So let me try to share my screen here. So maybe you can see the agenda. And I want to share an application. This one. Okay, if all is well, you'll be able to see my browser. Yes, it's kind of small. Let me try to make it bigger. Oh yeah, bigger. Bigger is better. So what you can see here, we have the agenda for DevNation Day, which is going to be September 15. And which is next week. We have exactly 7 days to the day. So we have a countdown here, and we have an entire day full of Kubernetes content. So if you want to learn more about Kubernetes, how Kubernetes is boring or exciting, depends on the way you see it, like Kubernetes in the practice, you want to know the backstage of that, well, this is the perfect place for you to learn from worldwide Kubernetes experts. And this is just in the morning, and in the afternoon, you have more Kubernetes, we have more content, and we have like 3 different tracks talking about many different subjects. You can see here that we're going to have a JavaScript track, a Python track, and a Java track. And actually, I'm the host for the Java track. So we're going to have, I can talk about the Java track, of course, and we're going to have like renowned speakers from everywhere in the world. We're going to have Adam Bean. We're going to have Simon Maple from Snyk. We just watched Brian. Well, we're going to have Simon from Snyk too. We're going to have Ray Tsang from Google, Fabiani Nardone from Teo, and Nikolai talking about Java too. So we have a great lineup of speakers. It's something that you can't miss because it's an entire day of content. Free. Oh, and did I mention that we're going to have a lot of cool demos and games to be playing between the sessions? Yes, exactly. So I hope to see you there, because it's going to be an amazing experience. So don't forget to register. I'll share the URL on the chat, and I hope to see you there in the next week.
Awesome. Thank you, Edson. That was a great power ad for DevNation. So yeah, you should really subscribe. Let me go on. Let me see the time. We have 10 minutes left. Wow, that is crazy. So let me just go. Oh yeah, there we are. Okay. So DevNation Day, you all know about it. Quickly, there's also this week starting tomorrow, Quarkus Day. So tomorrow and Tuesday, Thursday, a whole set of talks about Quarkus stuff. If you want to know, for instance, about security, well, I'm giving a talk there, so you should see that. Speaking of Quarkus, for people who don't know Quarkus, Quarkus is an awesome Java stack. And instead of speaking about it, I have 1 minute left. So before I go to the game, that should work. Let me try that. I want to do some live coding here. Let me go here and let me open this. Okay, that's working. Okay, if you go to code.quarkus.io, you can create a new Quarkus project. But if you come from the Spring Boot world, it's like start the spring.io, okay? And here, let me say, show live. I create an application called show live. And what I want to build my application container image using zip, because I don't want to use Docker. And I'm doing this locally, and I want to use Minikube. Okay, because Quarkus is great to build applications that are meant for the cloud, but you can really easily do that locally on your machine with Minikube, and we have support in Quarkus for Minikube. Okay, so I just picked those two extensions, and I generate my application. I download it, I unzip it. Okay, and now if we go back here and I remove this, I go to my console. Let me see, in my download, I should have something called Show Live, okay? So that is a Quarkus app. If you do a tree, it's just a regular Maven app. I could run it, but I'm running late, so I won't run it now. What I will do instead, I will build a jar from it. I will make a container image of it, and I will deploy it to a Kubernetes cluster. That is a lot of stuff, you know? But I just have to put this command, maybe in a clean package, and then I pass Quarkus Kubernetes deploy true, okay? And just with this, and with these two extensions that I added, it will build the jar. So here the jar is built. It will now run some tests, of course. Testing is important. And then it will create a container image for me. There we go. And it will apply this container. It will create Kubernetes resources and apply these resources to my container, which is running here in this window just below. Okay? Demo gods have been really hard with me today. So, oh, now look, it's working. Show live has been deployed here. So it took me a few seconds to deploy a new app from scratch to production. Well, production. Local provisioning. If I do get service, show live, for instance, here. There we go. kubectl get service. There we go. I could even ping this Minikube IP. And if I do curl 182.7.99 and on my ports here /hello. And there we got a connection with Fuse because I missed a 9 here, and there we go again. And it's working. Okay, I'm under stress, so I probably make a mistake, but my service should be available there. Oh no, image pull back off. Looks. So the demo gods are really not happy with me today because my Minikube was not able to create my image for some reasons. I have no idea why. If you want to see this working, go on my Twitter account. I do that live, and in less than 1 minute, I got it working. And of course, today, everything is not working. So we have 5 minutes left. This just gives me 5 minutes to play the game all together. Okay, and now we are going to play the game. So, I need to share the URL. Let's play. Yeah, sure. Let's play, Edward. And now I forgot my links. Edson, can you paste the link of the game to the chat, please? I just need to find it back here.
Yes, I can. I'm sharing them.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. Awesome. We are going to play a game where you have to pop balloons, okay? You have to pop balloons, and yeah, that's all you have to do, by the way. But it's really funny, and I will change some stuff around this game, and we will have a leaderboard. So is everyone ready? I don't see it in the chat yet, but there's some delay. Let me see if we are there. There we go. If you put, okay. Is the game there, Edson? That you put the link? I don't see it in the chat, but
Yeah, it's on the chat.
it's on the chat. Okay, it's on the chat.
Oh, for
so,
you? It's on the YouTube chat.
On the YouTube chat. Yeah. Okay. My
But I
YouTube
share
chat.
with you right now.
Okay. Okay. Let me pick this and go back here to the show. Let me go to the scoreboard. So you should see the scoreboard here. And I'm about to start the game. So you will join the team randomly. No, yeah, you see, people cannot see the link. I think your, you know what is happening? Your paste is getting cut out of the chat, I think. Because, yeah. So I'm sharing that now with Red Hat developers. Okay, you should see it now. Because you are not logged in as a Red Hat developer. So, people, we have 2 minutes to play the game. I'm starting the game right now. Oh my god. So some days things are getting weird, so. And we start the game now. Okay, so you should all see balloons. The balloon game starting. There we go. Can people see it? Let me join the game as well. So you have to try to pop as many balloons. And we missed the DevNation link as well. Okay, I will share that, everything with you. Ooh, so. People are probably able to click the game now. You can see that here. I'm really bad here. It's a bit laggy on my side, but let me see the scoreboard. So people are not yet. Let me see the scoreboard. Is it getting updated? Oh yeah, so we have 4 teams, and the purple team is winning right now. And let me make it a bit more difficult. Let me increase the speed of the balloons and make the balloons smaller, okay? Let me just pause for a moment, and there we go again. Let me go there. Okay, now the balloons should be really small and faster. Okay, there we go. So this game is, I didn't have time to explain you that, but it's all run by Vertex. There are some great other technologies behind that. We are working on a new version that we will share shortly with you. But this is all based on the WebSockets and Vertex, all async. So again, we have a lot of fun. I'm sorry, I will let the game running, but I have to leave the channel for the next stream, the OpenShift stream. I'm so sorry for all the stuff that happened today. Next week there won't be a show because it's DevNation Day. But the week after I will be back with Matt Klein, the creator of Envoy. So thank you so much everyone, and see you in 2 weeks. Bye bye!